see toys flying behind you.
Yeah, or Cora screaming her head off in the background. We'll see.
But that's how we're starting the live chat about Cora. Who is Cora? If you want to know who Cora is, drop a little comment in. It will boost the algorithm. We much appreciate it.
Tequila!
And we'll potentially answer the question too. Stuart, a picture of health. You look like a picture of health, mate. How are you?
Been out in the sun a little bit. I was just thinking earlier, like, I was driving through Maidenhead and I was just looking left and right and I was thinking, God, a year or two ago, I'd have been sat in an office, tie up here, I'd have been sweating, like, oh, put your jacket on, you don't look professional. Like, clients wouldn't even come in the office because they'd be walking past with ice creams.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm walking up to the ice cream shop at lunch, getting myself on in my shorts, on the phone to my client at the same time, and it's like different world.
Bringing mini milks on valuations. I think that's the way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you seen that? AU Vodka have brought out their own ice pops. So if we're going to do it, let's do it properly with the AU Vodka ones.
Take those on the open houses, guaranteed asking price.
5% as well. They're 5% vodka.
Not just a hat rack, ladies and gents. Georgina, how is summer treating you and your wonderful family?
It's very good. Yeah, we're enjoying the. Well, it is a bit too hot, isn't it? I don't want to be the one to say it, but yeah, it's good.
So British.
Nice.
So British.
Get out in the garden. Bifold doors are open, but not when it's this hot.
Yeah. It's roast. It is toasty. There's not a lot of breeze out there. It'd be lovely temperature if there's a little breeze here and there would go well. But properties do photograph and video fantastically well, Neil. In this weather.
Yeah, the blue skies. No excuse for grey skies on Rightmove right now.
No.
It's ironic you say that because I went out to a house the other day, done the video in shorts. It was roasting hot, lovely blue sky. But I actually put the blue sky with the clouds behind it just so that it made it stand out even more. So they're like, it was a lovely day for it. I was like, it was, but I want some clouds in there.
Just to make it, sometimes it can look too fake if it's too good, especially with the iPhone these days, because the iPhone actually takes an amazing photo outside because it's got the ability to do the double contrast. So sometimes it can look too picturesque. But let's talk market. So I think we're going to cover a few things in today's. I know everyone's got a couple of things they want to talk about. What is a chain? How does a chain actually work? What is a chain? Where's it end? Where's the bottom? Who's the weak link? Who's not? So we're going to talk about that. Should estate agents be able to charge time wasters? So that's a hot one that we might get some friction on the comments for. And does your agent do viewings outside of normal hours and more? Much more. So, yeah, we've got Stuart from Maidenhead. Looking forward to hearing about what's going on in Maidenhead. We've obviously got Georgina. She's got her kids in the background. So if she goes on mute, don't be offended. If someone rugby tackles her, don't be offended either. And Neil is obviously sat in HQ, obviously one half of Dan and Neil estate agents, covering a multiple of areas, but mainly Shinfield, Spencer's Wood, Lower Early, Winnersh, Arborfield. And any I've missed?
3 Mile Cross.
3 Mile Cross.
Cindersham.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wherever the client may take you. So, should we kick off with chain? What's a chain? Because there's a lot of stuff where people say no chain, or you've got a buyer that inquires and goes, I'm sold, so there's no chain. I love that one. It's always the classic. Yeah, I've sold my house. I've got no chain. Who have you sold it to? Oh, someone that sold. That's my favourite, that one. So who actually put that in the comments for Callie? Who wants to kick that?
That was my one, actually. Yeah, I've had it a few times recently. And it's not just buyers, it's also sellers that will say that they haven't got a chain or they'll be chain free, they'll break the chain. And then so that's part of as a selling point, basically, for the advertising. And then changing that and bringing in a chain, it can obviously ruffle up buyers the wrong way by suddenly, incorporating a chain. I understand if it can be tied in and it doesn't delay anything, but obviously if it then causes complications, obviously it's so just wanted to clarify exactly what a chain is. And that is basically, so if a buyer sells to a first-time buyer, that is a chain. It's anybody that's linked in the transaction and they can obviously become very complicated the more and more people are added. You've got extra agents involved, obviously, the 2 sets of solicitors, so they can get very complicated. And that's why I think people try and say, oh, we're not in a chain, or we won't be in a chain, because it sounds better to begin with. But you've got to roll with it if that's what you decide to do from the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know, because it's about the size of the chain. Size matters, is the rumor. And yeah, it comes down to the fact, what is the chain? How long is the chain? How many links are in the chain? And also, who are the links? I think that's important. I don't know what you think, Stuart, but whenever I'm checking the chain, I want to know what type of agents and what type of solicitors are involved. It makes a big difference in the security of that chain. I always look at it, and if there's like a strike or someone like that in there, I almost look at it and think, well, it's not really a proceedable chain in my eyes, because it's so difficult to transact when you've got certain types of agents involved. And the same could be said for, various conveyancers as well. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you. Like, I've got one last week where lovely family, they wanted to offer on a bungalow through me. They're sold. They've got an agent in Burnham. But then behind them is Purple Bricks. And I said to the agent, like, have you got the solicitor details, the mortgage broker, and the buyer's details? No, I haven't. I was like, okay, well, I can't recommend your seller to my seller. And then a week later, sent an email, said, look, this is what I need. I copied in the potential buyer. And then he messaged me separately. He's like, I can't believe my agent doesn't know this. And I was just like, yeah, and you've accepted an offer and they don't know it. And it's mad. Anyway, so he's lost out on that property, and I've sent him a separate email. I'm like, no other agent is going to touch you until your estate agent knows this information. But yeah, tough times.
Neil, I want to throw it from the chain then. Hopefully that helped people. But I want to throw it from the chain and talk about this, because this comment went in our WhatsApp group today at Avocado. Particular client said to one of the agents at Avocado, basically, that Rightmove just sells all the properties in the UK anyway. So that was kind of their take on it. So I guess the question is, does Rightmove sell houses in the UK? Does Rightmove sell all the properties in the UK? And if an agent's on with Rightmove, does it really matter what else they do? Or is it just all about Rightmove? So I'm going to just pop that tin off and hand over to you, Neil.
Quite simply, no. No, it doesn't. I think if you look at statistically how many properties Dan and I have sold in the last 2 months alone that we've taken where it was on the market with another agent on Rightmove, they couldn't sell it. We came along, sold it, multiple inquiries through Facebook, open house technique, the full marketing. Yes, don't get me wrong, Rightmove's a brilliant tool and it's out there for a reason. Brilliant tool for buyers, but no, it doesn't just sell houses. It's the way that we operate is very proactive. The marketing, obviously, the way that we stand out with the property, it looks the nuts when it goes online, and that stands out. And really, that can be the description, but it stands out. It's the nuts. But if you look at most traditional high street agents, they've got that technique of put it on Rightmove, see what happens. If it doesn't sell, wait till their 14-day calling off period is done, and then they'll ask you for a reduction. And then they'll see if it goes again. So you go into that cycle of put it on Rightmove, see what the interest is, doesn't sell, reduce again. Whereas if you, list on Rightmove, list on all the portals that you can, but the fact that we're getting people buying houses that have seen our YouTube videos, we're getting people that are buying houses that have seen our Facebook videos, that have seen our sneak peeks or beat the portals on Instagram, kind of shows you we've got a hell of a lot more at our disposal to, one, maximize the price, but two, sell quicker, which is why we always say to people, get it right. Yes, put it on Rightmove, but get it right. Make your house look sexy to the market, where everyone's going to want it in that short window of time, and you'll have a multiple choice of buyers. You'll get the best price and you'll sell quickly. So yes, Rightmove can sell houses, but does it sell it to the right buyer at the right price?
Yeah, totally agree. Georgina, the one stat for me that always kind of squashes that argument, or, all agents do the same thing, blah, 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 is the fact that a higher percentage of properties sell on the second agent than they do on the first agent. So if more properties sell when they've changed agent, this is an average. Obviously, it's depending on who you're with, blah, blah, blah. But on an average across the UK, the proportion of properties sell with the second agent at a higher rate than the first agent. So if it was just as simple as slapping it on Rightmove, that statistic wouldn't be in action, would it?
It's about marketing. There's one that I had that was on with an agent for months and months, and the marketing was awful. For a start, it was a 3-bedroom house that had 3 reception rooms downstairs, and they'd randomly called one reception room that was off of the kitchen a 4th bedroom. So it was being advertised as a 4-bedroom house when it clearly wasn't. There wasn't a downstairs bathroom. It just didn't make any sense to call it a 4-bedroom house. And that was the first thing that I noticed. It was horrible, dingy photos. It looked pretty much how I look with how this is, but they were just awful photos. And it was actually a really nice house, but it didn't come across. And they only had about 3 viewings. And there were people that I got through the door with my marketing, with, obviously the video, we all do love that. And people that I got through from viewing other houses because I keep in contact with my buyers all the time. If I know exactly what they want, I know, the next thing to get them into. But there are ones that either hadn't seen it because of ridiculous marketing trying to say it was an extra bedroom than it was, and the marketing was poor, so people didn't want to go and look at it. So for me, that's the key thing. If you're going to be on Rightmove, the marketing has to be good, and people should do their research before they instruct the agent, is my advice on look at Rightmove, look at how much of their properties have been reduced. So, yeah.
Can I just can I add to that? You guys might have seen my social media dig out the other day, but a house that we've got on the market, I done viewings on it last week, had about 12 and another few last night at 7:30, might I add. But 3 of the people that viewed the property with me tried to view it through the other agent, never got a call back. So just doing the basics as an estate agent, that's where you start. Call people back. Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, Stu, for me, I actually like Rightmove. I think, as a product for the UK, it's a great sort of tool almost for people to be able to do a bit of market research. And we're going to talk about people that waste people's time on the next part of the chat. But I just think it's a nice way to pre-qualify. I think it's a nice way for people to go and do a little bit of kind of pre-research, if you like. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't take the photos, it doesn't take the floor plan, it doesn't do the write-up, it doesn't do the video. So it's not able to do the bit that gets someone to inquire. It's just the mechanism that shows the good and the bad marketing that the guys are talking about, in particular Georgina there. And then what Neil's talking about is when the inquiry comes in, what happens then? Because no one looks at a property on Rightmove and emails to say, I've seen this property on Rightmove and I'd like to offer the asking price. Here's my mortgage, here's my solicitor. Can we proceed? That doesn't happen, right? So I think it's a good vehicle, but it's not the driver and it's not the fuel, is it?
No, and I think sometimes you could probably lose interest through getting it wrong on Rightmove.
Yeah. If
you don't
100%.
put like all the bells and whistles on it like we do when we market it differently, because that's what we're allowed to do. Not this 3-bedroom semi in this character road that was, best winning award in 1992. Like, no one cares about that. They want to know, like what we do with the seller's view, why they bought it, what they've done to it, and where they're off to. And like, Rightmove can't package a story and make it personal. Whereas the way we market it, it is personal for us, for our owners, for the buyers. Like the amount of people I see, they're like, love your video, never look at the photos anymore. I want to know if there's a video on there. And then I'm really disappointed when agents have videos of photos. It's just laziness. But
we get people saying, we've had touts before. Touts being a property that's on the market with another agent. They want to come to us and they've actually asked the agent that they're with if they can write their own description as a seller's view.
These little subtle changes that make a huge difference to people, and that's down to the quality agent, and it's how it runs all the way through as well. So don't forget, if you're watching live, drop us a like, let us know you can hear us. Drop us a question if you want a question asked to anyone obviously on the panel, including myself. That would be great as well. Going to get controversial here.
Avocado now.
There's Mr. Avocado, Mr. Allen, the comfy avocado. Going to get controversial. So there are sellers that come to the market with no intention of selling, and there are buyers that view properties with no intention of buying. In reality, they're not buying. And there's also buyers that will offer on multiple properties. There's buyers that will just view just to strike it off. They haven't done any of the pre-qualification. They're probably not going to buy it, but they just want to check. So they just go and have a look. And then you've got obviously the seller's aspect of it as well. So I guess the question is whether it's the estate agent charging, whether it's the buyer, the seller, whether it's someone, but should more be done to stop that happening, I guess, is the key question. Stu's vigorously nodding there, so I'm going to go to him first. But what's the thoughts on it? Should that be something that's plugged and stopped in some fashion, which normally means it costs someone a pretty penny?
Yeah, it's a simple answer. I mean, I did an open house the other day. Beautiful property in Cox Green, had 8 people view it. Had people that wanted to offer on it then. I always try and give people, I always say, like, sleep on it, make the right decision the next day. I don't want someone to make an offer because they get a bit trigger happy and then regret it. But the next day I had offers, but before then the owner had already pulled it from the market. Like, an open house just shouldn't have been done on that property. And so I've wasted the potential buyers' times. Technically, they should probably be able to say, hey, I want some money for my lost time. I personally think that, if you back out at that stage so quickly, you shouldn't have gone on the market anyway. So I think you probably should be charged. Yeah. It's a bit different, I think, if, let's say I went on with an agent and the service was poor and I wasn't backing out for the move. I was just backing out of a bad agent that I didn't know about until I'd experienced bad customer service. Like that's what you call an off periods for. But actually, just to say within 24 hours of like the open day, oh, I'm not moving, I can't afford it. You knew the figures before you went live.
Should have known that.
Yeah. I think some sellers will come to the market and they'll say, look, I'm being honest with you, I'm moving for that house. If I don't get that house, I'm not moving. And everyone knows the situation. And it's much easier then because we know what we're working with. But when someone says, yeah, all in, and you put your time and effort into generating the open house, booking the appointments, it's a lot of time that goes in. I think people underestimate how much time estate agents actually put in to trying to get the marketing done and the right techniques for sellers to actually move on to their next chapter, move on to their next property, and as a result, they need to sell. So there's a lot of time and effort. Georgina, I mean, what would you say on average it takes you to get a property to come from valuation, marketing, write-up, video, live on the internet, handle 8 buyer inquiries or maybe 12, but you book 8, and do an open house? How many days of your life are you putting into that?
I mean, even just taking photos and doing the video, that can be hours. It can be almost a full day's work doing that because of all the time that maybe the sellers don't actually see what you do, going to do the location video shots and moving all of their clutter out of the way. I'm a big one for moving everything out of the way so that it looks as good as it can for the photos. So even that's like one day's work. And then it's hours weeding out the rubbish inquiries that aren't actually either proceedable or, making sure that they understand that there's a pylon right near the property and stuff like that. Because I'm not here to waste my time or anybody else's time. So I'd have to sit down and actually work out on, an average of what the hours are. But it's a good, quite a few hours. I've had it before, Stuart, so I'm all for this. We're not a charity. We do have a business to run and we are professionals. And I've had this before where I've sold a property at 30 grand over what the last agent managed to get them, and then the person changed their mind. And I had to call the buyer and say, you know, the woman was in tears down the phone because she was desperate to move into this house. And the woman had just changed her mind about moving. She didn't want to move. And I just thought, as I was making this call, I'm not getting paid a penny to do this because obviously we're self-employed. So yeah, on that respect, it really was a bitter pill to take. So, yeah.
Neil, let Mike know he's not on the live call. We don't want to hear him.
Keep it down over there, Mike. Keep it down.
Yeah.
There's a podcast room right next to his desk. He can go in there. It's soundproofed.
Is he just being loud over there? Is he? I think he's on a call.
Loud, such a loud chap.
He's happy. No, he's sending invoices.
Yeah, I totally agree, guys and girls. I think it's something that unfortunately the industry itself, if it had a better reputation, people would be more inclined to make that the norm. I think upfront fees and paid for work that you've done, even though the result has come from somewhere else. I'm actually in a group with estate agents and a chap up north. And when I say up north, kind of above the M25 to me is up north, but somewhere up there. And his agency, they will charge a fee if they'll charge their full fee if they achieve the job. So I think it's ready enable sale. So effectively, if the seller pulls it off market after he's found a buyer and it's been memoed, he gets paid full fee because he's done the job that he's been asked to do and it wasn't his fault. And it's in the contract and he explains it very well. And people are happy with it. And maybe that's one step towards getting here. And it just means the whole industry improves as a result. And I think people, for me as well, it's the buyers, like Georgina says there, to have someone in tears and the 8 viewings that you had on the open house, you know, Stu, it's a shame. Messing with people's lives. It's not a transaction. It's a big emotional decision. So yeah, I think it's a really good point well made from everyone there.
I think one point that I'll just mention is that you get people that are just embarrassed to be upfront. At the same time, if they've made the decision, just tell us honestly. But then you get people that will flippantly make a comment or flippantly make it out as if it's our fault and then just rush off the face of the earth. That's more annoying than anything because you've dedicated so much time and energy into helping them, and then they just make flippant comments and don't return your calls. That's just annoying.
Yeah. Stuart's got some fans in the house.
Yeah, he wants something, doesn't he? You can tell.
He's been on the shandies all afternoon in the sunshine. You never know.
I would say on like fees and stuff though, it's like if you get a builder and your builder starts building and then you change your mind halfway through it, you got to pay him. If you got a solicitor and you're doing work for something like a deed of variance or something, you change your mind, you got to pay him. Like we seem to be. Although we're probably perceived as a very bad industry for different reasons, the flip side to it is, and no one realizes, we are dumped on quite a lot as well. And like 100%. The bespoke, personal, touchy-feely, lovey service, and they want maximum price. They don't always want to pay maximum price, but they also want we can just chuck you in the rubbish bin, see you later, goodbye.
Yeah.
Ditched on the second day.
Yeah, we work hard. It means a lot. Neil, we were talking about an hour and a half ago about how emotionally involved we get with what people are trying to achieve, and the fact that if they're having frustrations, it actually, you said it physically ruined your day, a situation, because you were so emotionally involved with what your sellers or your clients were trying to do.
Yeah, it can go from 0 to 100 real quick because you are emotionally invested into making it happen for them. So if something's going wrong, albeit these situations in particular, have I lost you? You still hear me?
No? Yeah.
Lost Georgina.
Still there. I was going to say that was the background noise. But yeah, I think where you've got 8 different clients that are emotionally communicating with you and they're pent up in terms of their emotions and stressed out with it all, and obviously you're their point of contact, you're their mediator, and although all of these issues that I'm dealing with right now, and there's nothing in my control, I can't do anything other than pacify, but you still get the brunt of it. And it, as I said, my day it goes from 0 to 100, from me drinking a non-alcoholic beer, which I normally drink in the week, to a whiskey, a beer, and then walking to the pub.
Love that.
So yeah, do it. You're invested, you're devoted to making it happen for them. And when something goes wrong, you're part of that.
It's personal.
Yeah.
Totally
100%.
agree. Yeah, totally agree. How's things in general, market-wise? Stuart, how are you finding things at the moment?
A little bit tougher now. The mortgages, like a few people over here, just because the media is so negative, like it's taking over people. Like they're reading, it's not a good time to buy. But then I would argue, like, and I've always said this, if you're in rented, you're wasting your money anyway. If you've lost out on loads of properties recently because you've always been outbid by other people, there's less people to outbid you now. So it's probably a great time to buy. And if you're upsizing, well, yours is, it's worth a bit less, but the bigger one's worth less. Like the only person who's really probably losing money at the moment is the top of the chain. So maybe the probate or the divorce.
New owners.
Like there's a lack of stock in Maidenhead. So like it is a great time to put your house on. You just got to be sensible.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds this month in particular, because there was no doubt that May was spectacular in terms of sales being agreed and business. And I think the first 2 weeks of June for most of the Avocado agents have been very busy on new listings, which is great to see. I think people are really starting to see the benefit of working with an exclusive agent that is so heavily focused in digital marketing. That's making a real difference. Georgina, what are the kids watching in the background? I appreciate you keep putting it on mute. What is the cartoon?
Yeah, it was necessary. They're watching some weird Spidey program. It's really annoying. So
is it YouTube?
I was like, can you watch something that's like Louis? I can tolerate that, but yeah, they seem to be okay. One of them was about to flood the kitchen at one point, so standing up at the sink with the thing going around. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll deal with that.
What's on the market next for you, Georgina? What's the little sneaky ones you can let us know about? Anything on the bubble?
I've just had one literally come back on the market yesterday, so that one's my new one this week. But I've been out to see another 2 in Hazel Drive, which seems to be my most popular road ever.
You need a plaque.
And they should hopefully be coming on. So yeah, we'll see.
Change that to Georgina Drive, I think.
I think we should, yes.
Neil, what about yourself? What have you and Dan got bubbling? Well, what have you got bubbling?
What have I got bubbling? Dan's got a couple bubbling, and I've got a couple bubbling. But the one that I'll give you a sneak peek or say on is one at 1.1 million that I'm going out to take photos on in the morning. Nice. So that's a very nice property overlooking a sang area. So nice dog for if you've got dogs, nice dog walk area, and a huge plot of land. And it was only built 4 years ago.
Wow. What are we looking at? Quarter of an acre, something like that? Nice big plot?
Over a quarter of an acre. It's nice. It's a very nice house.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So keep an eye on the socials.
Will that be a Beat the Portals tomorrow as well?
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, if you want to see that one, make sure you're following the socials. Stu, you listed a cracker last week that I saw, over 1 million as well. That's a beauty, absolute beautiful drone shot on it. What else is bubbling, and how's that one coming along?
So that one's got open house this Saturday. And the garden is like, the drone didn't, although it was a good photo, the drone didn't do it justice. Like, if I could have gone further back, it's got some like beautiful trees in it, but I should have done maybe from top down. It's just under half an acre, that plot. I've got a 2-bed semi that I'll do the Beat Portals on tomorrow morning.
How much?
425.
Okay. Walking
distance to the town. It's got great, like it. You walk in and you instantly think, oh, has this property been extended? It hasn't. That's how it was built. But it is so generous in terms of its size.
It's a big semi.
Yeah, big semi.
Okay.
We like
strong
them.
Watch out for the socials. Keep the portals coming your way.
It's not Chris Gray.
We're just children, really, at heart. Love that. Well, there's some crackers for people to check out on the socials. And I think next week we're going to be back. It's going to be closer towards the end of June. We'll get more of a lay of the land. We'll have Dave's market update from a mortgage point of view as well. So there'll be a lot to touch on next week. We've covered some really important topics there. So Stuart, Georgina, Neil, thank you very much for sitting in. Well, Neil's in aircon. I'm not. Stu's probably not. Georgina's probably not. So
the sun's been coming round as we've been talking.
It's getting hot. Get that blind down, mate. Get that
burning
blind
your
down.
Ear. Neil, are you taking that home to bed?
I think I might. If it's not here in the morning when you get here, you know where it is.
I will indeed. Well, thanks everyone. We'll be back next week. Thank you for those that joined. See you soon.
Peace and love.
Bye.
See you later.